Okay, let's see. This stupid mic. Testing 1, 2, 3, 4. I guess it's good like this. Testing 1, 2, 3, 4. Just getting a little set up. These mics are crazy. Okay. Testing 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm gonna go on my page and see if I sound good. Testing 1, 2, 3, 4. I gotta make the volume on this. Testing 1, 2, 3, 4. Testing 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, that's perfect. Okay, now that I know the volume's up, um, we can proceed. So, okay, just give me a second. I apologize, everybody. Got this whole new mic system, and I'm trying to get it to sound the best. And I think this is the way. Hey, Achilles, what's up? Hi, buddy. On to go. So I'm just still getting used to the setup, but I think it sounds good. Hey, Achilles, do I sound okay over there? Just let me know, okay? Um, okay. So I guess we're all set. All right, good. Thank you, Achilles, for letting me know. Okay, we should be all set. I'm actually gonna come down my chair a little, go up in it. Okay. All right. You're perfect right now. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Just doing a couple more adjustments, trying to get more in the shot. Let's see. Okay. Okay. We're looking good now. So let's just get this finally put down. Okay. Right there. We're good. Okay. Wait, one more time. Perfect. Okay. So, greetings from the Spider's Lair. I'm the Omega One. And we are doing a special live stream today because the Rings of Power just ended. So we did a couple of we have videos that we were doing. We're gonna start doing again. They're called assessments in a minute. They're pretty much I try to wrap up each episode in 1 minute. And I could pretty much get it all in there, But I'm gonna be honest, the show was a little aggravating for me, so I just didn't want to continue doing the actual um my assessments in a minute. So I decided that instead I was going to wait until the entire season was over and then give an honest assessment like for the entire show because I found some things in it to be ridiculous, but for the most part, I'm not here to bash it. I'm just here to give my honest assessment of what I thought about the show. Okay. So now we are going to start from the beginning. Okay, we're gonna start from thank you, Achilles, thank you. We're gonna start from the beginning of the entire season. Okay, so in case you're not familiar with the story, this is supposed to be about the Rings of Power. Um, I guess if they were following continuity, it would be the point of the story where they create the three rings of power that the three elves hold. Um, so this is what the story is about pretty much. Okay, so we start out with episode 1 and they show our hero, I guess, our antagonist, Galadriel, right? And Galadriel, she okay, so before I continue on, I'm not a Tolkien guy. Hey, what's up? Hi, how are you, sir? Give you a shout out. Hello. So I just want to let you guys know I'm not a Tolkien scholar, nothing like that. But I come into it as a fan, not caring too much whether it follows the law or not. But I guess in certain aspects of this show, it is important to follow some of the law because it's not going to make sense if you don't understand what's going on. So I'm not going to really go back and forth and explain who's who, from the book to the Silmarillions down to the actual. Yeah, I'm taking questions. So any questions you guys got, I would definitely be taking them. Um, So bottom line is this: the Galadriel here is not the same Galadriel that is in the mythos. Galadriel is pretty much like she's very like supposed to be elven, very very grand, tall, slender, very powerful. Not a warrior, but okay. This is where the story begins. We're beginning with Galadriel, right? Do you have anything VR. NAB. Wait, do you have a VR? Because I have one. I don't know what you're talking about. Sorry, VR. So, okay. So anyway, what happened is that she comes back from a long war because they show at the beginning as a child that she's growing up in the Elven Kingdom. And she's getting picked on as a child, but then remembers a lesson from her brother. Um oh, virtual reality. I don't, but I definitely want to get some. Okay, so she pretty much starts out in the village to show as a kid getting picked on, I guess. I don't know why. Okay, so she's getting picked on and she learns how to fight back. This what makes her the great warrior Galadriel. So she's all grown up because what happened was there was a war with the orcs, and her brother goes off to the war. And he doesn't make it back. He dies. He gives her lessons as she's growing up, and he's pretty much telling her that hold on, I gotta put on some lights here. There we go. He's pretty much telling her that you gotta stare into the darkness before you can conquer it or something like that. Told her some stupid analogy about the reason why a stone sinks is because it looks down, but a boat does it because it looks up. I thought it was buoyancy, but okay, in their world, if you're a rock, you're sinking because you're looking down. But if you're a rock looking up, will you sink? Anyway, he whispers something in her ear, and we never hear what it is. You don't hear it at that point. So Galadriel now is getting revenge because her brother died in the Orc War, and she wants to go back because Sauron is supposed to be coming back. She keeps hearing this. She knows he's coming back, and she's been looking for him for hundreds of years at this point. So, when we pick up in the story, what happens is that she's pretty much like leading soldiers everywhere, being reckless, and they pretty much call her back to send her to give her an award, but I call it more like a send off. Because what happened was they were going to send her to Valinor. So Valinor is pretty much like their version of heaven. I like in subs. Thank you very much. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you, sir. You get one for sure. So she pretty much they're sending her ass off to Valinor, like for her loyal service. But you find out that they're not sending her off to Valinor because they're doing her a favor. They're sending her off to Valinor because for some way they don't know how she's part of this darkness that's coming, which I found to be ridiculous because in the original books she was never even part of any of this. But it's okay. This is the show. This is the way they're going. They felt like she was bringing the darkness, so they wanted to send her ass to heaven, pretty much. Um, and that first episode was crazy because during all that, you meet this whole tribe of people called the Hartfords. Like, I mean, if you like the Hobbit, you'll hate the Hartfords, in my opinion. They're filthy little creatures, and honestly, they don't even have a bone of compassion in their body. They legitimately are like, um, I don't know. I call them little assholes because, um, as I get on to the story, you'll understand what I'm saying. But they apparently a meteor falls out the sky, and the Harfords are there, and one of our one of the Harfords, Brandyfoot, she pretty much finds this body in the middle of a heaping meteor. Um, she finds him, and pretty much we don't know what's going on. Pretty much ends their story right there. So the Hartfords are pretty much found them some stranger that came out the sky. Okay, cool. Um, so as this the show's ending, Galadriel gets on a boat to go to Valinor. Now she's with a bunch of people now. She's not like alone. She's not the only one going to Valinor. It's a bunch of them. It's like a ritual almost. They're all wearing their robes and getting ready to ascend to the next plane. So what does she do? She jumps out of the boat in the middle of this vast ocean. To give you some perspective of how big this ocean is in Tolkien's world, if we're following Tolkien's lore, this ocean is like being dropped off in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean or the Pacific. Pick which one's bigger. And then having to swim to either England or the United States. That's where she was. She jumped in the middle of the ocean, landed here for no reason, and they just show her swimming off into the night. That's how episode 1 ended. And I was like, whoa, what the hell? So now we pick off episode 2. And what happens in episode 2 is we show Galadriel swimming away, swimming. All of a sudden, she finds this raft in the middle of the ocean. Like, imagine that. You jumped in the middle of the ocean, and all of a sudden, you're just swimming. And I don't know how she knows where she's going, or even if she has a plan at this point. But she's swimming in the ocean, and she's not doing any she's not making any progress. She's just swimming in the ocean. So what happens is she finds this raft in the middle of the ocean. I don't know how the hell this happened. Finds the raft, then she gets on the raft. There's a bunch of people there. There's a bunch of survivors, and there's one guy there. His name is Halbrand. And pretty much as everyone is on this raft, she's starting to figure out something's wrong because the raft is all broken up. Everybody looks terrified. No one's bothering anybody on that boat. And then all of a sudden you find out it's like a sea dragon. It's in the lore. I don't really remember the name, but it's part of Tolkien. They took that, I guess, or had permission, whatever the case is. So this sea serpent destroys the rest of the raft. And it kills everyone, because what Halbrand does was he pretty much like sent those people to their deaths, telling this to Galadriel, and I guess in a way she was all right with it because they survived, right? But they're still now on this freaking this floating timber. She's like, forget this, jumps off the boat, swims away, and this is where everybody's dying. But hooks up later with Halbrand, and that's how that scene ends. Now we're going back to the Hartfords. And the Hartfords at this point, now little Brandyfoot goes down to the fire and she's looking to see what the stranger's about. And now she's not getting burned. So already people are speculating this could be Sauron. Because Galadriel says something in the first episode when they were fighting an ice troll. Oh, I'll go back to that real quick. In the first episode, they were fighting an ice troll, and Galadriel was so amazing and so awesome. She legitimately and literally got like thrusted in the air by her partners, her soldiers, flew about 50 feet, lands and swipes down on the ice troll and kills him. Yeah, I know, right? And she kills him with one shot. Like, yo, Xena, you got nothing on this shit. So now we're getting back to episode 2. So we're talking about little Brandyfoot finding the stranger. That's what he's referred to in the show. He's the stranger. Okay. Oh, nice. So he's the stranger. So the stranger pretty much he fell from the sky, meteor, no one knows who he is. Okay. He has when she goes up to him and he's in the smoldering fire, it's not burning her, it's not hot, it's cool actually. And she's like, what's going on here? I don't know what's going on either. But anyway, she winds up going down, getting right up on the stranger, touching everything, it's not hot, and helping the stranger out the hole. Now the rest of the Hartford see this. She brings him back to the village. Of course, they don't want to have anything to do with this guy. They don't know him. So, she's pretty much like kind of has him, but she's doing her own thing with him. And that's fine and all. Nobody cares. So, anyway, when we get back to Galadriel and Halbrand, they wind up like pretty much getting knocked out, I guess, from the battle with the serpent. They wind up getting knocked out. They wind up being stranded in the middle of this ocean on a floating raft. But at least she's not alone. She's having weird visions and all through this entire time. So Now when the episode ends, she pretty much her and Halbrand, they pretty much get rescued by a boat. Now we're not sure who the boat is yet at this point, but this is she gets saved and he gets saved by a boat, and that's pretty much how season 2 ends. Um, so now we're gonna pick up on season 3. I mean, episode 3. And what happens in episode 3 is now they're getting picked up, right? And they don't know who these people are. They're getting picked up in the middle of the ocean, getting ready to go somewhere. They're not talking to them. They're not prisoners at this point, but they're not being told what was going on. Okay. So while this is happening, there was an episode I should have went back to in episode 2. Okay, so we're going to be dealing with Erewhon now. This is one of the elves that had charge of one of the towers, because in the War of the Orcs, um this village that the elves are watching, um they were siding with Solomon back in the day, pretty much, and as a penance to them, so they wouldn't do it again, the elves are assigned here. um Hold on. They were assigned to this town to make sure, I guess, people don't side with Solomon again. And it's a bad situation because they hate the elves and the elves don't really care for them. It's contentment, but it's so that if the Dark Lord comes back again, they're not gonna go join him. So I'm looking up the city that they went to. So now he's investigating the village because there's some mysterious sighting of orcs. Um, there's pretty much a sighting of orcs. I'm sorry. Hold on. I shut this down. Oh, my computer's telling me to restart. Nope. That's later, buddy. So she pretty much she's fight. Oh shit! I'm sorry, people. Just give me a second. Hold on. This thing's driving me nuts. Okay, sorry about that, everybody. A little technical difficulty. Okay, so he's investigating orcs that are, I guess, ravaging other villages close by, including their village. They're finding these weird tunnels all under the towns themselves, where no one knows why. Um, you find out later on that it's the elves, and I mean it was the orcs, and they were digging under the ground and they were taking people because apparently, for what we were told back at that point, they did this because they just couldn't stand the sunlight. Okay, that's fine. Okay, so now we go back to Galadriel and Holoburn getting rescued. Um, and pretty much what happens is they wind up getting rescued and they got taken to. Cause what happened was, okay, the army that found them was the Lindorian army. Now there's an island called Lindon, and it's pretty much the human island. Like during the war, the humans got this island gifted to them by the elves, but there's still contentment for the elves. So this is where they're going. She's going to a place where they detest the elves, but wanted to go there. Like she jumps in the middle of the ocean and winds up somehow, some way, finding her place where she needs to go exactly. Because now, when they finally get to the city and they get her there, she winds up pretty much okay. She was acting like a bitch. And I say why? Because she walked up in there like, you guys gotta give me an army and that's it. Because Sauron's back. I got no proof of it either way, but I know he's back. So give me an army. And they're like, dude, no. And she's like, okay, talking to, because at this point, also, I forgot to mention that once they get there, they find out that the king himself, he is, I guess, incapacitated. He has an illness, and the king himself, pretty much, he's incapacitated. So his daughter is in charge, um, and his daughter, I'm looking up her name. I forgot it. Okay, let's see. His daughter is Muriel. and she's pretty much in charge now of the island until the king recovers. But you're finding out at the beginning that the king's suffering from something, an ailment. No one knows what it is. So she's the queen regent, I guess. And Galadriel, this I didn't like what Galadriel did. She pretty much it's one thing, okay, help the humans and whatnot, but Jesus Christ, this lady was just legitimately like, "Give me armies, go with me, let's go." Of course, nobody wanted to do it, so Galadriel causes a scene. She legitimately winds up acting the fool to the point that they throw her into their prison. And I was like, "Yay, good, shut up, Galadriel." Like you making demands. She gets thrown in prison, and during this time while this is all happening, Halbrand, he's trying to some for some reason join the guild. There's a guild there for smiths, and the only way you can join the guild, you have to get like a guild quest. It was a crazy, stupid episode. He winds up robbing one of the guild quests so he can work. Like they wouldn't know. He just showed up the other day without having this quest that takes years to obtain. You're not getting it overnight. Shows up with some dudes that he robbed the quest from, but they caught up to him in the alleyway and they pretty much handed him his ass, which I thought that was proper. But then winds up somehow joining the guild. From all that, oh, we forgive you. You could join the guild. What? Okay, whatever. So he joined the guild. He's smithing, I guess, because he's supposed to be somebody. In the story, I'll say at the end who he was. That's why I'm telling anyone who hasn't watched this. This is a spoiler warning. I said it in the title. I am going to have um explanations and pretty much break down exactly who's who. So for right now, this guy winds up getting his smithing permission, I guess, and he's smithing away. Halbrand's just now he's making things there. Okay, but before that, he winds up in the jail cell next to Galadriel, and he knows Galadriel did some dumb shit. So anyway, he winds up talking to her. He's giving a sage advice. The best way to get people. The best way to control people is control them in a group. Like he's just telling her weird things, and she's looking at him weird, like, what's this guy talking about? But okay, she's paying attention to whatever he's saying. So they come and they let her out because I guess now to the girl, like she has a dream. The princess, the queen regent, she has a dream and she pretty much sees the entire island drowned. How many episodes are there? Oh, there's I believe it's 9 episodes. 9 episodes. So we're kind of like floating between episode 2 and 3 right now. That's what we're up to. So um when the Queen region pretty much throws Galadriel in jail, Galadriel like pretty much gets out of it. But before that, they had this most oh god, the most ridiculous fight scene I've ever seen. And I know it sounds like I may be bashing the show. I kind of am because of the things that I saw that I couldn't believe they were trying to pass off as something that I could just close my eyes and pretend I didn't see. So she winds up with one hand motion, just apparently throwing the guards in the jail cell, disarming 3, 4 of them, and they all just pile in. Like there's 7 heavy armed, trained, skilled men, and they don't even show her fighting. They just cut the Halbrand, and he's telling the head of the captain of the guards, "Oh, these guys are in trouble. You'll see." But no, it was just that it was a ridiculous fight scene. It wasn't even a real fight scene. She gets out of jail, and they pretty much tell her to get off the island and take Halbrand with you. They introduce who they are to the courts, and the court system's like, "Get out, just leave our island." As she's leaving, the leaves on the elven tree, the white leaves start to fall off. So she's like, "Oh, this is a sign. Call that crazy lady back in here. Give her the army she wants." I swear that's how it happens. So she winds up getting called back to the place. This is kind of like into episode 3 now. And she pretty much winds up getting called back to the place, and she she's given what she wanted. She's given the army, she's given everything that she needed, and they were getting ready to take off.
So little bits and pieces happen between season episode 3 and 4. Not really that important. They set fire to one of the boats because the elves were coming to take their jobs. I swear it was funny. Guys were complaining about the elves coming to take their jobs. Everybody was protesting against the elves. The same elves that gifted them the island. But okay, whatever. So um they set one of the boats on fire. So now you understand they're sending an army to Middle Earth. So it's supposed to be about 200 men, I believe, at this point. But there's 3 ships, and they're putting horses on the ship and cargo and everything. Well, each of these ships, I don't know. To me, if I had to guess, like just look at it, I can't see each ship holding more than 40 people. It wasn't a huge ship. They were huge ships. They had 3 of them. They had 4, then they had 3. 200 men going to Middle Earth. Don't know how the numbers worked out. Maybe some guys were hanging off the side. I have no idea. But that's how that episode ends. They're going off to fight the war. Okay, so now we're gonna get back to episode 4 in the Harfords. Um, these little evil bastards. They sing a song. It's called "No One Walks Alone, No One Gets Left Behind." But if you don't keep up, they'll take your wheels and tell stories about you throughout the generations so they won't forget you. What? Which one is it? You're not gonna leave me behind, or you're gonna leave me behind? I get confused. Nobody walks alone. No one gets left behind. But if you slow down, we will leave you. Okay, so anyway, like that's why I don't like about the Hotfoots because they're so contradictory to who they are. You say one thing, but you don't have that kind of If you're thinking that these things are gonna be like hobbits, forget about it. No, I mean Brandyfoot's the only one that's pretty sweet, and that's the female Frodo, I'd say. And she, you know, no, she's female Sam. Well, she has a female Sam too. I forgot her name. Though. She's not important, but she's like the female Frodo. Okay, and this girl's like, she's the only one I really like. But even her, she's annoying because she does dumb stuff. Um, so they're sitting here and they're going through a migration. Now, if you look at the map of where they're going, I mean, it doesn't even make sense. It's going to take them months to almost a year to get where they're at. But this show, you have to suspend your belief for a minute and understand that it's like Final Fantasy. Teleport wherever you want. They don't say that, but it might as well because these people are getting across the world so quickly, it's not even funny. I mean, okay. So they're going on their little relocation village movement and before this is happening, um the stranger is enacting his powers, I guess. He has powers. He could control like the fireflies, he could control fire, but he doesn't know how to, but he knows he can manipulate it somehow. And he pretty much tries to heal a tree, and all the Harfords come up to him to watch this. And when he's healing the tree, a branch falls off the tree and winds up falling, and Brandyfoot winds up jumping on one of the other little Hartfords and saved the Hartford. But now they're looking at the stranger like, oh, this guy is evil. Get him out of here. They're calling him evil. And they don't want to be bothered with him. They're scared of him at this point. Um, he's pretty much fell and doesn't know how to do anything yet. Barely can talk, you know. But little Brandyfoot's like, nah, he's good. He's gonna be with us. So as they're moving, when this is all happening, her father winds up breaking his foot. Um and now that's the reason that's why I say that they're little assholes because this guy got a broken foot. Bernie Hart's father has a broken foot, and you guys are not doing anything to help him. You're not doing anything to help his kids. You're really not doing anything at all. You're just sitting there and leaving this guy to die with his family, you know? So she winds up um, you know, figuring out, hey, wait, we have help. We have the stranger here. He can help move our carts. That's what it's about because um Brandyfoot's father broke his foot and now he can't move the cart. They got these carts they gotta move. So they used the stranger to do it. He was like bigger than all of them. Sure, pull this cart, you know? And they wind up using him in that matter. They get along their way. Okay, so now we are heading towards Middle Earth with Galadriel. She's on a ship. Okay. Um, and to she's talking to the captain's son, um, which is supposed to be Isidore. He's important in the lore because I do believe, if I'm not mistaken, if I am, please correct me in the comments, and I will retract. He's the one that winds up chopping the ring off of Soren's hand, and winds up, that's how the ring of power gets lost in time. This is the kid, okay? Um, they're talking. Galadriel's talking to him, saying that he might have a mother and whatnot. And then asks his father what happened to the mother. And the father gets like the most ridiculous. Oh, when somebody asks you what happened to somebody, aren't you just going to respond and say, "Oh yeah, that person died"? No, he gives an entire speech that makes no sense about the dawn setting over the sun, and then turns around and tells Galadriel she died. Like, okay, you could have just said that. It's just like things like that annoyed me. So, as you can tell, I was a little annoyed with this show from things like that. It's just, it's stupid. You don't need to go through all that. But anyway, like I said, this is all my opinion. So if you like it, cool. I'm not bashing nobody that likes this show or doesn't like it. This is just my opinion about what I thought. And what I feel is that the show has a lot of potential, but so far, from what I've been seeing, I don't see it there. So, as we go along, I'll explain more. So now we wind up, we're still on the boat with Galadriel, and we're figuring out things. She's trying to figure out who's who, and then she winds up figuring out, okay, we gotta go to Middle Earth, and we have to help out the humans there. Now she's headed towards Arranor. That's the other elf that's in the human town in Middle Earth already. Now Arranor, he starts to hear that, he knows about the orcs. Like I said, he was finding the orcs, but then he gets captured. And nobody sees him for a while, but he gets captured by the orcs. And he pretty much takes other elves that were captured to dig these holes, and they wind up rebelling, and he winds up breaking away. I wasn't a fan with the fact that, the visuals were bad. They had this guy jumping in chains. I mean, like, he was the only elf that was in chains. Come on. Let's just stop the nonsense, all right? I was like, okay, whatever. He winds up fighting, and he winds up escaping. Okay, so now Galadriel's on her way to Middle Earth with this army that she's leading, because she's a commander, she could do that. And everybody's just waiting for her to come. And then all of a sudden now you start seeing the orcs are. Oh, so Arendelle gets away because what happens was one of the orcs. I mean, one of the well, I wouldn't even call him an orc. He's pretty much like, I would say, a twisted elf. And he pretty much tells them that he's actually have a compassion for the orcs dying. They're calling him father. If I'm not mistaken, I think I said his name before, but I think that's Isidore. And I'm sorry for the last mistake I made. And he's pretty much, I don't know. They never really say what he is, but for we could tell, because we know the lore, that orcs were, well, Sauron was stealing children, the elven children, when they were smaller. So we believe that Isidore is one of these children that was twisted by Sauron to the point that he claims he killed Sauron, but we're not sure if that's the case or not. But he claims to have killed Sauron. So we don't know what he is. Like, he's kind of for the orcs, but not working with Sauron, if that makes sense. I guess. So anyway, he winds up just showing compassion in a weird way to the orcs. Like, okay, he cares about them. Whatever. They twisted him to be this way, and he absolutely cares about the orcs at this point. So they actually let Arendelle go and tell him to give the townspeople a warning, which is surrender to us, become our slaves, and we'll let you live. So, why did you just kill Aaron? Why did you just kill Arendelle and then just no, sorry. Why didn't you just kill Arendelle? Why did you just kill Arendelle and just leave? And just go and kill them anyway? But for some reason they wind up They wind up just letting him go. So now we gotta go back a little because remember this is called the Rings of Power. Okay, so there is one who makes the rings, and his name is Calibrinwall. You know, he's a badass. He's the one who's at the charge of getting the rings commissioned to be made. They had to go to the dwarves. Him and Elrond. Now they took Elrond because Elrond is good friends with the prince. But the thing about it is that he hasn't seen the prince in years. Has not seen the prince in years. So, you know, he's traveling with Calibrinwall and they're going to the village to the well, they're going to the kingdom of the dwarves, okay? So, they're going to meet his friend, which is Prince Doran, and that's the person that he hasn't seen in about 20 years. So they wind up going to New York City, and now Doran's really pissed. He is really pissed off. And you're like, what's going on? Why are you pissed to see the elves? You don't understand at first what's going on. He's just pissed at Elrond. And you're like, what's going on? Why are you pissed at Elrond? We don't know what's going on at this point. He just pretty much says he don't want to talk to him, closes the door on him. But the elf winds up getting in. And the reason why he was mad at the elves because they haven't seen each other in about 20 years. But for elves, it's nothing in the grand scheme of time. They can live for thousands of years. So 20 years for them is like a couple of months for us, I guess. So, for him it wasn't a long time, but for the dwarf it was. And the thing about it is that he winds up telling him, "You missed my wedding to Princess Disa." Now I gotta be honest. I say so far in the whole show, my favorite characters are Doran and Disa. And they gave a lot of crap to Disa online for the things that she was saying. And I'm gonna be honest, I don't blame her for half the stuff she was saying because you have publicists, you have agents, you have people that could have corrected you. She was saying a lot of things that were incorrect. Doesn't make her a bad person, just makes her incorrect. But her acting and the way that she portrayed that, I'm telling you, I liked it. And I liked her husband too. I like the whole dwarf elf dynamic. They did capture that in there. So, and like I said, this is not a hit piece. There are some things I did like about it, and there's a lot of things I didn't like about it. So it's all good though. So what happens is, they get to the kingdom. Okay, he makes amends and tells them, "Look, we're here to craft um something exquisite." Now, they were talking about crafting a weapon of power. I don't think they say rings at this point. I have to go back and look because if they did, then they messed up an entire plot of the story. But I'll get into that later. So anyway, they go to the city to get commissioned tower to get the dwarves to help them build this tower so they could build because they okay. So I know I'm not wrong. This is what happens in the show that I didn't like to begin with. They were talking at the beginning of making a tower so they could craft the rings of power. Later on, that changes. They still wind up crafting the rings of power, but I'll explain to you later on what happens because it didn't make sense, and I gotta go back to watch that just to make sure. But I know that they screwed that up at least. So, of course, the friends like we liked it, but then of course, the wife's like, "Nah, come on, put this behind you. Let's be friends." So he's like, "Okay, no problem." He does it, and they're friends, and now the commission takes place. The only thing we had a problem with, not the only thing, but one of the things we had a problem with was the time lapse. I call it time lapse, not timeline. It was like months that passed. And Colin Wall still wearing the same robe. $1 billion budget, mind you. And they only have money for one robe, I guess. So he wearing the whole robe the whole time. Okay, whatever. But within the next scene, the tower's built. They never be consistent with the time. How many months passed there? But it's like the next day over on the other side of the planet. So these are the inconsistencies that I didn't really like. But okay, I'll suspend my disbelief of time, space continuum, and just pretend that okay, yeah, as the scene goes, the tower's built, but time's flowing in two different timelines at the same time. And I don't know what's going on with that. So when that happens, and they finally do make contact with them, and everybody agrees, then they build the towers. Give me 1 second. My dog broke in. Hey, puppy. Yeah, go. I'm doing a live stream. Buddy. Okay, sorry about that. That was my doggy Einstein. He's pretty much the symbiote I made after. So I have a symbiote called Einstein that's all up on all over my page. You can go check that out. So anyway, now they're commissioned to build a tower to build the rings of power. Okay, tower's getting done. Galadriel now at this point is back on the seas, going to Middle Earth to find Sauron. Okay, she knows he's there. She's gonna find him. Okay, so they wind up going back. Like I said, they're on the ocean, getting ready to go to Middle Earth. The elves are commissioning the tower so they can build the rings of power. They're getting everything done. Everything's getting wrapped up. And then all of a sudden, like, Calibrinwall tells the other elf that they're there for something else. So Calibrinwall pretty much is telling Elrond that they're there because of this metal called mithril. Now mithril is a weird metal, but apparently for some reason in this series, mithril is what they need to live like eternally. I didn't know this. It's not in the books. It's not in the Silmarillion, and it's not in the movies whatsoever. So this whole thing about needing mithril to sustain their immortality that was given to them by their god is, I don't know. I don't get it, but okay. So that's what they're there for the mithril. So now Elrond's got to explain this to his friend that they just made up with. He got to explain this to him. He got to tell Doran, listen, I'm here for this mithril. This is what we're here for. Like, they're not even supposed to know the mithril exists, but somehow they know that they are mining the mithril. Oh, I do believe that he shows him. I believe that Doran does show him the mithril. And he goes blabbing back to Calibrinwall what he saw. And the Calibrinwall is like, okay, that's what we thought. And we are going to get that mithril. They explain what mithril was. It's pretty much a metal that was made by, I don't know, a Balrog and an elf fighting over a tree and lightning strikes. I don't know. It's ridiculous. It didn't make any sense. But okay, that's how mithril was created. They need the mithril to survive. Mithril has healing powers. It's taking away all the darkness because during this time in the Elven Kingdom, everything's falling. The tree of eternity is losing its leaves. Everything's just like dying over there. So they already know this, and they're just trying to figure out what to do next. This is how the Rings of Power become into reality because of this event. So they wind up pretty much let's see. Okay, so they wind up pretty much getting everything commissioned and putting everything in play. While this is all going on now, we're going back to Middle Earth because we have to mention Theo. Now, Theo, we believe, is the son of Amador. Okay. And he finds this weird sword. We're gonna call that the ring. He finds this sword. It's Sauron's sword. And it pretty much is calling to him. It's activating where he's touching it. He doesn't understand what's going on. So they when Aragorn comes back, he tells everybody, oh, the orcs are coming. And if you guys don't surrender, we will be killed. He wants us to surrender and pretty much, unconditional surrender. So they have a great idea. They're gonna fight their fortifications. They're gonna stay hunkered down and they're gonna fight the orcs and they're gonna wait for them. So they do. The orcs are coming, and I seen something that I need elven rope, okay? Because apparently you could put an entire building together with this thing, but if you shoot it, the whole building will unravel. So there's a tower there in this village. And what do they do when the orcs come? Arendor shoots a flaming arrow into this rope that winds up coming off the entire tower, wrapped around, crashing down. What happens? Boom. The tower collapses. It absolutely collapses. And I'm like, wow, what the hell? Can you imagine that? Just picture this. There's a rope tied around this tower that's made of cobblestone, like really elven made watchtower. And Arendor was just able to shoot an arrow at a rope. The rope goes around the tower and snaps the whole tower and crumbles it. Falling on a lot of orcs, not killing the leader. Of course, it would have killed the leader. And they're pretty much going about their business after that. They're like, we gotta get out of here now. So they have a great idea. They're gonna go to the town down below in the valley, the place that they are saying is the most fortified. Yeah, okay. But if you see the village that they're talking about, here's the mountains, the village is down here. So you have the village down here and the mountains up here on all sides. So what you have is pretty much the low ground. Remember, Anakin couldn't win. Why? Because Obi-Wan had the high ground. So these orcs can come in and attack from any spot they want. I mean, like, you're just trapped down in the gorge, and there's nothing that's like where they were. They had the perfect place to be. It was pretty much like a castle. They gave that up for a straw village that you couldn't defend it anyway. Okay, whatever. So they're setting up that village and getting ready to fight the orcs that are going to be coming there too. And I'll tell you, the things that they put away, the barricade, there's like one land bridge. It's small. You could walk around it. But the whole plot is we're gonna put everything on fire around it. The orcs kick it to the side and walk right through it. Yeah, thank you. Because that's exactly how dumb that was. But anyway, the orcs get through. They get through the fire stuff. And now, all of a sudden, out of nowhere, here comes Galadriel with all the troops. Yay! Coming to save the day. And what she does on one of these to one of the orcs is crazy because she pretty much winds up they shoot an arrow at her. She ducks the arrow. Cool little move. She's on the side of the horse. Okay. But she's on the side of the horse now. She's galloping for like about 100 yards, 300 feet maybe. I don't know, maybe 100 feet. Okay, 100 yards, let's say. No, 100 feet. She's galloping on a horse. She doesn't get up. And then right before she gets to the orc that shot her with the arrow, now mind you, she's riding like 100 feet plus to this guy on the side of the horse with her sword in her hand. I don't know how she pulled this off. Nowhere near the guy, the sword goes in a weird way and he explodes. I swear, it's the funniest thing I've ever seen. He explodes. And then she winds up meeting Aradon and telling him, we're here to help. I guess he was happy to see her. He goes and he sees her. They're there to help. Meanwhile, before this happened, Theon and his friend winds up going to the next village over that was attacked by the orcs to find food for approximately 200 people. 2 boys are expected to find food in a village occupied by orcs to bring back an entire food village with only 2 of them with no bags to carry everything. Okay, whatever. So they go to the village, and now Theo, as he's checking out the village, noises are being made. His friend cut out on him. I don't blame him. I would have left. I wouldn't have left my friend, but I would have left. He cuts out in the village. His friend leaves him there. Theo finds an orc finds him, and he's trying to mess with him. And I don't know how Theo knew this, but he knew to take this sword and stick it in me so I can make a big sword, and it's blood magic. Now Theo's sword starts to grow. Thalon's sword activates, and he cuts off the fingers of this orc that tried to grab the sword, and he pretty much gets away from the orc. The orc just lost 3 fingers, but he's like, oh, fuck it. I just put a bandage around it and run back to the kid. So Theo winds up hiding in a well at this point. and doesn't break out into the next day when it was safe to go. Um, and this is Galadriel now. Arendor is there. They find Theo, and they start to break down things, and they're starting to take charge of the situation. After the battle was all said and done, Galadriel pretty much gathers up the remainder of the elves, including um Arendar, and tells them what's happening and what we need to do. We got to prepare a fight because this battle's not over yet. And I'm looking at the time, guys, and I think I'm going to cut it from there because I didn't realize it was going to take this long. So I'm going to remark this as part 1. And I think part 2 I'm going to do either tomorrow night or Sunday. So I'll be posting that when I go live again. So we pretty much got through half of it. And there's still another half to go. So I'm going to mark this as part 1. And I think I'm going to wrap it. So I'm going to tell everyone who showed up, thank you for coming, because every time you do, you make us feel special. And we hope we do the same for you. We're going to continue doing these. If you guys really like them, let us know. If you don't like them, please, we want to know too. We don't want to waste our time and doing stuff that you guys may not be into. This is more or less for us, but I'm pretty sure like people will want to know about the Rings of Power, which I say for where we left off at this point, the show still has some time to be good. But will it? And that's what we'll discuss in part 2. So thank you everyone for coming. And I'm going to cut it right there. We hope you guys enjoyed that live stream from the Spider's Lair. Peace and love, everyone. And remember, the Spider-Verse is standing strong. And we are out.